Good morning, readers. We've been talking about the importance of speaking and listening with our whole body. Talk to your partner for a minute about why it is so important to speak and to listen with your whole body. It's important because, turn and talk. So, readers, you might have said it's important to speak with your whole body so that people pay attention to what you're saying and so that it's a fun and interesting conversation instead of a boring conversation that's hard to hear because the person is talking so quietly, or that's hard to pay attention to because maybe the person isn't looking at you. You might have said it's important to listen with your whole body so that you know what people are saying and so that you can give them the respect that they deserve, because we all deserve to be heard. So when you are listening to someone, you want to make sure that your eyes are watching and that your brain is thinking about what they're saying, that your ears are listening, and that your mouth is closed until it's time to talk. And then you want to speak with your whole body. When you're listening, your heart should be engaged. Your heart should be caring about what that person is saying, not just thinking about what you're going to say next. Your hands and your feet should be still and calm, so they're not distracting you or anybody else. And your back should be straight or kind of leaning toward the person who's talking. Yesterday, I saw some listeners who were forgetting to listen with their whole body. This is hard to do. Sometimes I even look around in a meeting with other grown-ups and I see that people are forgetting to listen with their whole body. Maybe they're tapping their feet or they're looking a different way. But that is not whole body listening. And we want to make sure that we are giving our whole body when we're listening to somebody else, that we are fully paying attention to what they're saying, because that's kind, and also because that helps us learn. So let's practice that this morning. So at the end of this lesson, Mrs. Norton is going to say go. And when she does, this is what you're going to do. Now would be a really good time to turn on your antennascope in case you weren't paying attention, to zoom in, because Mrs. Norton isn't going to explain this again. This is your one chance to understand. So make sure that your antennascopes are on and you're paying close attention to what your job is. This morning, you are going to have a chance to assess each other on your whole body listening and speaking. So when Mrs. Norton says go, you are going to get into your guided reading groups. So, let me remind you who those are. So Lucas, Camille, Nova, and Brooks are a group, so they're going to find a spot to sit on the carpet. And Madison, Ariv, Harrison, and Dylan are a group, so they're going to find a spot to sit on the carpet. And Shyla and Alex and Samita and Alia are a group, so they're going to find a spot to sit on the carpet. If I didn't mention your name, so Beckett, Rithik, Claire, Smear, and Adia, you're going to be evaluators first. And Keneal, Chandler, Gemma, Evane, and Joy, you're going to be evaluators first. So you're going to go to one of those three groups, and they're going to start talking about their book. They're going to use their bookmark to use accountable talk, and they're going to practice whole body listening and talking. While they are talking and listening, you're going to go around with this checklist and your clipboard, and you're going to check off what they're doing. Let me show you. All right. I have my checklist and I'm listening in to a group that's talking about their book, The Cat Show. At the top, it says readers I evaluated. Emu's in that group, so I'm going to write Emu. Stuffy is in that group, so I'm going to write Stuffy. Bob is in that group, so I'm going to write Bob. So I'm going to write down the names of the people that are in that group right there. So Bob, Stuffy, and Emu. Now I'm ready to grade them. So they're talking, they're ignoring me. They're using their accountable talk bookmarks. I just heard somebody say, I agree with you, and I'm gonna watch them listen. The first thing on my checklist says, looking at everyone when they talked. So Bob is talking now, and I can see that Bob is looking at everybody when he's talking. So I'm going to say that they are doing that, yes. Oh, wait. Now Emu is talking, and Emu is looking down instead of at his group. Bob did it, but Emu didn't. So I'm going to put almost for that group. See my almost check? The next thing says they were looking at the speaker the whole time. So let me see if they're doing that. Yeah, while Emu is talking, Bob and Stuffy are looking right at Emu and they're looking interested. They're kind of nodding and smiling. Oh, Emu just said something sad, so they're frowning. Whoops. Stuffy started looking at the clock. Okay, that's an almost. They almost had it, but Stuffy looked at the clock. The other thing it says is that they're nodding and they're making appropriate sounds. So I'm going to listen for that now. So I already said yep, they keep nodding. Yep, and Stuffy is going, when Emu is talking. So I'm going to say that they are doing that. Keeping their hands and feet still unless it's appropriate to move them. Emu's moving his hands because he's talking now. So that's good. That's appropriate. Oh, but you know what? I see Bob kind of swinging his legs. So I'll put almost. Leaning toward the speaker or sitting up straight. No, they're all kind of leaning back in their chair, so they don't have that yet. Okay. Here's how I rated this group. I don't have to put my name anywhere. When they're all done, Mrs. Norton will say, stop, she'll ring the chime, and then I'm going to give this to this group so they know what they're going to work on and do differently in group today with Mrs. Norton. If you don't get to evaluate today, that's okay. You'll get to evaluate tomorrow. And if you don't get to be in group practicing talking today, that's okay. That's what you'll do tomorrow. So let me remind you of what your group is doing. So my first group, Lucas, Camille, Nova, and Brooks, you're my first group, you're going to be talking. So you're going to be practicing with those accountable talk stems. So you're going to need to get your bookmark before you go sit down. Madison, Arav, Harrison, and Dylan is my second group. So you're also going to need your bookmarks. You're going to sit somewhere on the floor together and you're going to talk about your book using your bookmark. You can talk about anything you want about your book as long as you're using those accountable talks and you're speaking and listening with your whole body. Shyla, Alex, Samita, and Alia is my third group that's going to find a cozy spot on the carpet and start talking about the book together using their bookmarks. My evaluators today, the people who are going to be listening to those groups talk, are Beckett, Rithik, Claire, Smira, and Adia. That's my fourth group. They're going to be evaluators listening. It doesn't matter which group you go to, just go to a group. Make sure you don't disturb the group. You're just listening and watching and evaluating them. And then Keneal, Chandler, Gemma, Elaine, and Joy, my fifth group. They're also going to be walking around and grading. They're going to choose a group to grade. It doesn't matter which group you choose, as long as every group has several people who are scoring them. Are there any questions before we get started?